A stolen car tears down the street, fireworks shooting out the windows directly at the pursuing officers. Inside, a group of 14-year-old boys are laughing hysterically as they swerve through traffic, treating a high-speed chase like a video game. Why? Because they know the law cannot touch them. When the police finally drag them into the station, the boys don't apologize. They smirk. They blame puberty and hormones, fully aware that as minors, they can't be charged. The detectives are helpless. The teachers are terrified. The boys, led by a vicious teenager named Lim Ji-yeon, walk out of the precinct without a single scratch, completely invincible. But what he didn't know yet was that the Educational Rights Protection Bureau had just taken over his school. Ji-yeon doesn't just bully students. He runs a criminal empire in the shadows of the classroom. His primary target is a quiet girl named Eun-bin. She had no idea that accepting a single diet pill would turn her into a prisoner. Ji-yeon gets Eun-bin hooked on the pills, then forces her to sell the illegal narcotics to other students to pay off her imaginary debts. When she begs to stop, the punishment is swift and brutal. Ji-yeon and his gang lock her inside a dark utilities room, laughing as they record her sobbing and screaming for mercy. But that wasn't even the worst part. When Eun-bin finally builds the courage to anonymously report them to the police, the system fails her again. The boys are let go. They corner her in the classroom, mocking the police, reminding her that they are minors and completely immune to the law. They prepare to make her life an inescapable nightmare. He was wrong, and it was going to cost him everything. Inspector Hwa Jin and Han Rim don't call the police. They don't suspend the boys. They throw them into a transport truck and drive them far away from the school. When the doors open, the boys aren't at a counselor's office. They are standing in the yard of Gimcheon Juvenile Prison, surrounded by convicted killers. The bureau strips the boys of their clothes, their names, and their arrogance. They are forced to scrub dishes, while hardened criminals leer at them. Ji-yeon tries to act tough, picking a fight in the kitchen, but he quickly learns he is no longer the predator. He is cornered by Soo-gyom, a notorious inmate who murdered his own bullies. The teenage crime boss is suddenly crying, begging for his life in a puddle of his own terror. The answer was already there. Neither of them could see it. Back in the city, the boys' wealthy parents storm the Ministry of Education, threatening to destroy the bureau for kidnapping their precious children. They scream about human rights. They demand immediate release. But the worst part wasn't what happened, it was what came next. Hwa Jin plays the evidence. He exposes the drug ring, the 50 million won profit, and the horrifying torture of Eun-bin. The parents freeze, weeping, dropping to their knees to beg for forgiveness. But before this episode closes, there's one more thing. Eun-bin stands before her tormentors. She looks at the boys who made her life a living hell, the boys who drove her to the brink of suicide. She refuses to forgive them. And that decision, that one moment, would come back to destroy everything. The gates clang shut. The boys' release is officially denied. They will remain locked in this nightmare until they turn 18. They felt untouchable. They laughed. And then the steel doors slammed shut. Welcome to hell. Justice in this world is rarely clean. Inside the prison walls, Ji-yeon is approached by a fellow inmate, a member of a rival gang. Ji-yeon is stabbed, his screams echoing through the cold concrete halls. If you thought the Bureau's war was brutal so far, you have absolutely no idea what is coming next. The real revenge hasn't even started. He is bleeding on the cold floor of his own office, taking brutal kicks to the ribs, while his co-workers watch in absolute horror. He didn't steal anything. He didn't pick this fight. He is taking this beating because his teenage son played a simple game on his phone. How much does a child's mistake actually cost? The boy's name is Jae-yoon. He didn't start out as a criminal, but the older students knew exactly how to groom him. They promised easy money. They called it a game, completely hiding the fact that he was stepping into a ruthless, illegal gambling ring. Before he even realized what was happening, he had racked up 85 million won in debt. His terrified parents drained their life savings to pay it off, begging him to stop. But what he didn't know yet was that the debt wasn't the real trap. The true nightmare was the addiction. He relapsed, borrowed more money, and then completely vanished. His broken father is left to pay the price in blood. Desperate and entirely out of options, the bruised man limps into the Ministry of Education. The Educational Rights Protection Bureau takes the case. But they can't just arrest a few teenagers. They need to completely dismantle the adult syndicate pulling the strings. Deputy Bong Gun-dae strips off his suit and goes undercover as a high school transfer student. He sits in the back of the classroom, watching the kids bet massive amounts of money on a rigged digital casino. To catch the sharks, Gyun-dae has to become the perfect bait. He plays the fool. He intentionally loses $1,000,000 and lets a teenage recruiter set him up with a loan shark. The interest rate is a predatory 3% every single day, compounding until the debt becomes an inescapable death sentence. But that wasn't even the worst part. The real danger wasn't the massive debt. It was the men waiting in the shadows to collect it. Gyun-dae expected a simple shakedown. He expected his backup to swoop in. She had no idea that a single distraction would change everything. Inspector Han-rim looks away for just 1 second to buy a street snack. In that exact moment, a black van pulls up. Violent thugs drag Gyun-dae into the back seat, completely vanishing into the city before she can even draw her weapon. He is tossed into an underground server farm hidden behind a fake shrine. The adults running the operation don't just extort kids, they enslave them. Gyun-dae finds Jae-yoon trapped inside, coughing, beaten, and forced to manage the illegal gambling servers. Gyun-dae isn't just a tough guy, he is a genius hacker. When the syndicate's Cambodian server crashes, the thugs threaten to gouge his eyes out if he can't fix it. Instead of panicking, he calmly sits at the keyboard and secures their network. But he wasn't saving their business. He was opening a digital backdoor for the bureau. Han-rim and Hwa-jin breach the underground compound. Han-rim tears through the henchmen with brutal efficiency, leaving broken bodies scattered across the floor. But the crime boss tries to run. Hwa-jin catches him on a dark, desolate rooftop. He doesn't just arrest him. He wants the man to feel the exact terror he inflicted on innocent families. Hwa-jin offers him a deal. A simple game of rock, paper, scissors. If the boss wins, he goes free. If he loses, he takes a hit. Before we go further, if you've made it this far, you already know this story, has you? Don't lose the next episode to the algorithm. Subscribe to Kdrama Recap Planet now, and hit the bell so when the next recap drops, you're the first to know. It takes 2 seconds. Do it now while the story's still pulling you in. Now, back to where we were. It doesn't matter what the criminal chooses. Hwa-jin shatters his hand anyway. He forces the crying, broken man to acknowledge every single family he destroyed, delivering bone-crushing blows for every stolen life. Jae-yoon is returned to his weeping father, but Hwa-jin knows that taking down one boss doesn't fix the rot inside the school. He lines up the teenage recruiters who sold out their own friends. They cry and play the victim, blaming the adult thugs for manipulating them. But Hwa-jin forces them to look at the real victims, the parents who scrub floors, sell their homes, and take beatings just to keep their children alive. The teenage dealers are stripped of their smartphones and forced to scrub the school floors on their hands and knees to pay off their 98 million won debt. A battle was won, but the Minister of Education's ruthless crusade is making powerful enemies. As he climbs higher in the presidential polls, desperate politicians begin plotting in the dark. A mysterious informant has just walked into the opposition leader's office, holding a file that could destroy the bureau forever. Who is standing on the other side of that door? She slips a small, unbranded pill into her teenage son's shaking hand. He is exhausted, suffocating under the brutal pressure of Sungyeon High School, the most academically competitive school in the country. He begs to sleep. But in Daechidong, the neighborhood where mothers map out a 20-year plan for their children to attend Seoul National University Medical School, sleep is considered a failure. "Drink," she orders. He swallows the pill, and his trembling stops. But what he didn't know yet was that the medicine his mother bought off a secret neighborhood forum wasn't a study aid. It was an illegal, highly addictive narcotic containing a lethal dose of a heart stimulant, and it was slowly killing him. The boy's name is Eun-bin. He is dying inside, trapped in a windowless room where his mother has literally removed the door to ensure he never stops studying. He is only allowed 3 hours of sleep. When he finally collapses mid-exam, blood pouring from his nose, his mother doesn't ask if he is okay. She screams at the school to let him finish the test. She believes she is sacrificing everything for him. She sold a beautiful home and moved into a tiny, cramped apartment just to be closer to the elite tutors. But she had no idea that her sacrifice was actually a ransom. The Educational Rights Protection Bureau steps in. Inspector Hwa Jin implements mandatory nationwide urine tests, claiming it is a routine health check. The wealthy mothers of Dachidong revolt. They storm the school, demanding the tests be stopped, arguing that it will distract their children from the upcoming exams. Hwa Jin doesn't back down. He threatens to penalize the exam scores of any student who refuses. When the results come back, the truth is horrifying. The entire class of elite students tests positive for illegal psychotropic drugs. The mothers freeze, but Eun-bin's results are the worst. And if you think that was bad, wait until you hear what Hwa Jin does when he finds them. Hwa Jin tracks Eun-bin down to his apartment, banging on the door. The mother refuses to open it. Inside, Eun-bin is hyperventilating, begging for his pills. Inspector Han-rim scales the outside of the building and kicks through the window. Eun-bin is completely out of his mind. He violently attacks the inspectors, screaming for the drugs. He is rushed to the hospital. His mother is completely shattered. She cries, claiming she had absolutely no idea the pills were illegal. She thought she was just helping him focus. Hwa Jin doesn't comfort her. He locks her inside her own apartment. He forces her to follow the exact same brutal, suffocating study schedule she forced onto her son. He feeds her the same inadequate meals. He wakes her up after 3 hours of sleep. When she begs to stop, he refuses. "If you want med school that badly, then you go," he tells her. The apartment went completely silent. For the first time, the mother feels the crushing, inescapable weight of the prison she built. She breaks down, finally understanding that Eun-bin wasn't studying for his own future. He was sacrificing himself to fulfill her own broken dreams. Eun-bin survives the withdrawal. He sits across from his weeping mother and delivers the final, crushing blow. He tells her he is not taking the exam this year. He is not going to med school. He is finally going to live his own life. She begs him to reconsider, but the spell is broken. He walks away, leaving her alone, with the realization that her obsession nearly cost her everything. The Bureau's crackdown is a massive success. The Minister of Education announces that anyone testing positive for the illegal study drugs will be permanently disqualified from the exams. But while the country celebrates, Hwa Jin makes a chilling discovery. He is inspecting a batch of confiscated pills when he notices a strange, familiar marking engraved on the tablets. It is the exact same marking he saw years ago. The pills being pushed onto these wealthy, desperate students are manufactured by the same syndicate responsible for the tragedy that destroyed his life. The death of his fiancée wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of something much bigger. And the boy who killed her, Mu-yeol, is currently sitting in a prison cell, quietly discussing his upcoming parole with the opposition leader. If the Bureau was built to protect the innocent, what happens when the very people who murdered their loved ones are about to walk free? The war in the classrooms is escalating, and the final battle is going to be painted in blood. He is standing on the roof of the school, breathless, staring into the eyes of the boy who just destroyed his entire life. "My life is over because of the ERP," he screams, tears streaming down his face. "And the only fucking way out of this is if I'm dead." The boy standing across from him doesn't try to talk him down. He doesn't offer a hand. He smiles, and then he pushes him into the void. How did the Bureau's crusade to protect students end with a teenager broken on the pavement below? It started with a ghost walking back into the classroom. Cho Gyu-cheol, the boy who murdered Hwa Jin's fiancée, has just been released on parole. Despite the protests, despite the outrage, the school board admits him. The other students are absolutely terrified of him. Gyu-cheol walks straight into the Educational Rights Protection Bureau and reports a bullying case at his new school. He claims a student named Song-gu is being tormented by a boy named Chi-ho. Inspector Han-rim is suspicious, but Hwa Jin, blinded by his desperate need to save victims, takes the bait. He sends Han-rim and Gundae undercover into Jinwon High to investigate. They discover a new, invisible kind of torture. Chi-ho isn't beating Song-gu. He is erasing him. Chi-ho and his gang have stolen Song-gu's digital identity. They use his accounts to rent scooters, order expensive food, and run online scams, leaving the innocent boy with thousands of won in debt and a mob of angry, scammed victims hunting him down. When Song-gu begs for help, Chi-ho simply laughs. But that wasn't even the worst part. Chi-ho doesn't stop at financial ruin. He uses Song-gu's stolen accounts to send explicit, horrifying videos to his own little sister, framing Song-gu for the crime. Song-gu is completely isolated, despised by his family, and driven to the brink of suicide. The bureau strikes back. Han-rim goes undercover as a clumsy, dorky transfer student. She intentionally spills a drink on Chi-ho, acting terrified, and then offers her premium gaming accounts as an apology. Chi-ho's greed blinds him. He logs in, and that was his biggest mistake. Han-rim immediately logs into the game from another computer and unleashes a torrent of the most vile, offensive profanity possible, getting Chi-ho's account suspended for 300 years. Gundae then posts fake listings for free items using Chi-ho's number, sending a mob of angry buyers directly to him. Chi-ho is cornered. He lashes out, grabbing Han-rim by the throat in the middle of the courtyard. He didn't realize she was an inspector. He didn't realize the entire school was watching. Chi-ho tries to play the victim. He hires a slick lawyer and convenes a school violence committee, but Hwa-jin walks into the hearing with Minister Choi Gang-sok, who is not just a politician, but a ruthless, highly connected lawyer. They don't just present evidence, they completely dismantle Chi-ho's entire defense, exposing the digital extortion, the stolen accounts, and the vile framing. Chi-ho is exposed. His lawyer abandons him. The committee forces him to write a public apology to Seong-gu's mother. The bureau won. But they had no idea they were playing perfectly into Gyu-cheol's hands. He trusted his lawyer completely. He gave him a small fortune, and Hwa-jin burned his defense to the ground. One piece of evidence at a time. In front of the entire committee, the trap was finally set. Chi-ho is destroyed. He is facing expulsion. His family's reputation is in ruins, and he has nowhere left to turn. Gyu-cheol meets him on the roof. He records Chi-ho's desperate, angry rant, blaming the ERP for his ruined life. And then, Gyu-cheol shoves him off the edge. Gyu-cheol doesn't run. He walks straight into the office of the opposition leader, Hwang Gi-tae, and hands him the recording. Gi-tae thinks he is using the young murderer to destroy Minister Choi's presidential campaign. He was wrong. Gyu-cheol smiles, revealing the chilling truth. He didn't get paroled because Gi-tae helped him. Gyu-cheol manipulated the system, manipulated the politician, and manipulated the bureau, all to orchestrate this exact moment. The news breaks. The recording goes viral. The entire nation turns against the ERP, believing they drove a student to suicide through coercive investigations. The bureau is surrounded by angry mobs. The minister's career is on the brink of collapse, and the boy who murdered Choi Ga-yeon is walking the halls of a high school, completely free, untouchable, and smiling. If the bureau was built to stop monsters, what happens when the monster is smarter than all of them combined? Inspector Hwa-jin corners Gyu-cheol in the hallway. He doesn't strike him. He simply warns him that the bureau is watching, and if he steps out of line, they will be there. Gyu-cheol plays the terrified victim perfectly. Gyu-cheol isn't a reformed student. He is a drug kingpin. He orchestrated the entire bullying investigation to use the bureau as his own personal cleanup crew, eliminating the rival gang so he could take over the school's illegal drug trade. He floods the classrooms with highly addictive diamond pills, turning students into mindless dealers and addicts. The public turns against them. The ERP's operations are officially suspended. Gyu-cheol has won. He stands in the middle of the school, untouchable, distributing drugs while the teachers watch in absolute terror, completely powerless to stop him. He trusted his plan completely. He manipulated the system perfectly, and he used the bureau's own justice against them, one calculated move at a time, in front of the entire country. But the bureau wasn't dead yet. While the nation protests the ERP, Hwa-jin is secretly operating in the shadows. He uncovers Gyu-cheol's drug ring. He mobilizes the remaining terrified teachers, convincing them to secretly confiscate the pills and bring them to the bureau. Han-rim and Gyu-dae go undercover, launching a massive sting operation to ambush Gyu-cheol's runners during a drop. The plan works. The runners are arrested, the drugs are seized, and the bureau's suspension is immediately lifted. Hwa-jin is coming for the killer. He finds Gyu-cheol on the school roof, the exact same place he pushed Chi-ho. Gyu-cheol doesn't panic. He smiles. He knows he is a minor. He knows he will only serve a fraction of his sentence. He grabs a knife and holds it to the throat of an innocent student, demanding Hwa-jin let him walk away. This isn't gonna fly in court as self-defense or as manslaughter, Mu-yeol laughs. I'll have to move out of the country. There are schools all over the world. Mu-yeol raises the blade. Hwa-jin doesn't negotiate. He strikes. He disarms Mu-yeol and beats him into the concrete, forcing the killer to finally feel the terror he inflicted on so many innocent lives. Mu-yeol cries, begging for one more chance. Chances aren't something you're given, Hwa-jin says, echoing the exact words of his murdered fiancée. You earn them when you truly want them. The boy who manipulated the nation is dragged away in handcuffs, screaming, finally broken. The bureau has restored order to the schools. The drug ring is dismantled, the corrupt politician is arrested, and the teachers can finally teach without fear. But justice is a never-ending war. As the sun rises on a new day, Hwa-jin, Han-rim, and Geun-dae walk onto a basketball court, staring down a new group of towering, arrogant high school athletes who are brutalizing their teammates. The monsters will always return, but as long as there is fear in the classroom, the Educational Rights Protection Bureau will be waiting for them. Should underage bullies who destroy lives be thrown into adult prisons, or are the vigilante teachers who brutalize them just as guilty of being monsters? Drop your unfiltered opinion in the comments below. This debate is about to get heated, and I want to know exactly whose side you are on. If you are hooked on intense revenge K-drama recaps, satisfying manhwa adaptations, and dark Korean thriller dramas, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Hitting the like button tells the algorithm to feed you more top-tier school bullying revenge content, so lock in your support for K-drama Recap Planet and stay tuned for the next cinematic breakdown.